Hi, you guys. Good morning or good afternoon. um, I wanted to go over a few more things I found related to exempt individuals who are exempt from citizenship that I found through the IRS. I just wanted to read this to you before I go over the rest of the video, which is going to show you some really odd documents I found over the last couple of days. And I have called some immigration offices to try to get my forms, but they're saying that my forms are held with the State Department, meaning the State Department itself is holding the children. But we should still have access to our files. We should have the legal right, like what AIEA, I've told you about that, is doing, is they're claiming that we were being abused in our home country when that might not have been true. We're just being abused here, and so what they do is they say that we don't have the right to know because of the abuse and that we have to stay in a guardianship. And I've also explained when somebody comes in as an asylee, meaning they're asking for asylum here, a child that comes in under them in whatever way they acquired that child. I don't care if it's kidnapping. I don't care if it's foster care. I don't care if they're a guardian. I don't care. You're frozen at the age you come in. And this is you just have to think of Walt Disney and Frozen, the things that frozen means, frozen, frozen, frozen. They're claiming that that frozen, your age is frozen. So you obviously can't, if you're earning money and not emancipated, your parents are getting the money or the guardians are getting the money. So then we have people, I've pointed out how many people, they're called flying monkeys. We learned about this in the Wizard of Oz. And remember, Wizard of Oz is opportunity zones. So they're selecting children to be in a government torture study, literally, under Los Angeles Unified School District. So you go to school, you're a perfect child, and you could never be in, any kind of specialized class or anything. And then they walk through the hall and say you have bad posture. This is what happened to me. Now, I learned about this through Kurt Cobain's song, Pennyroyal Tea, and what that means. And so I've learned a lot from songs, like some of the last albums I learned the most from were Lana Del Rey. I mean, she talks about these programs incessantly, but she obviously doesn't say what they are, but they are talking about this program in a lot of these ways, because if you think about how it works, they try to pretend there's something wrong with you when you're a child. And there's really nothing wrong with you. You have a strong character, you're normal, you're cute, you've got a good personality, and you could do any job. Except you can't do a job they're not going to let you do. So when I took a test at some point that said I would be very good in nursing, my mother, just as an example of the evil that's going on in America, is my mother said that I was selfish and I would never be a good nurse, and that perhaps I lied on the test. And my mother was a nurse, and I did want to help people. And in that way, I wanted to give back to my country. Instead, they held me as a hostage without the right to earn money, without the right to any meaningful jobs. And somebody came onto my site and she said she could get hired, but she couldn't keep a job for more than 3 months. And I started looking up why. Okay, so let me just show you this before I show you the weird documents. If you're an exempt individual, which means your days of presence in the United States are not counted for purposes of the substantial presence test, which would give you, citizenship, if you fall into any of the following categories. an individual temporarily present in the United States as a foreign government-related individual under an A or G visa. However, this category doesn't include household staff of a foreign government-related individual present in the United States under an A3 or G5 visa. So if you were ever forced to do domestic work for your captors, remember, Cinderella is a very real concept. They're holding children as slaves. They're giving them very little with the intent to later bully them to the point where they seek plastic surgery or break their nose through domestic violence, so they seek plastic surgery so they can seize ovaries, uterus. I don't know what they seize from men. I only know what I've seen, so I can't talk about that. But I do know that they do have ways of getting semen while you're sleeping, but I'm not sure what those ways are. Okay. So anyway, let's go again. A teacher or trainee temporarily present under a J or Q visa. And whenever you see Q, you know, there's Q parcels, and there's just a lot under Q that I want you to consider. And yesterday I went to an immigration office very far away from me, very far. And I drove there, and I drove to one in Los Angeles, and I drove there. And it was on F Street. Okay, F is female. F is, I knew a person. His name was Bill Slade, and I did a, some kind of album with him. Like I sung on a few songs, did some demos, not an album, but did some demos for him. So I went backwards, because when you're being held as a book for other people to use as, for property, to make more books, it becomes very important to remember part of literature is flashbacks. So you need to go back in time. Who was Mrs. Biddle in your elementary school? Who was, these people posing as a producer? Why were, what were their names? Where were they from? How did they target you or find you? And what you'll do is you'll start to look and see that these people were found guilty of forgery. They were found guilty of, grand theft. They were found guilty of battery or domestic terrorism. And when I'm saying the name F and the name Bill Slade, I don't believe those are real names, so I don't think I'm doxing anyone. I mean, these aren't real. They're not real names, but if you know their addresses or phone numbers in any way, you can run it that way. All right, so an individual temporarily present in the United States, this doesn't include household staff of a foreign government-related individual. This is a very important concept right here. It doesn't include household staff of a foreign government-related individual. So say my mother is considered household staff, or she's considered some kind of staff, you're exempt somehow. A teacher or trainee temporarily present in the United States under a J or Q visa who substantially complies with the teacher, trainee, or student for any part of the 2 of the 6 preceding calendar years. However, you still may be treated as an exempt individual if all of the following conditions are met. You are exempt as a teacher, trainee, or student for any part of 3 or fewer or the 6 preceding calendar years. A foreign employer paid all of your compensation during the current year. I mean, I don't know how you would know that. Okay, because if they're doing creative documents, like I found under my name saying that I was born in Korea, they can do anything. They can do anything. And what they do, you're born one name, and then they find the most aggressive way to hide your name and claim that you're born in Denmark, you're born in Korea. And then what I believe they're doing is under one of the alien numbers, you're considered a citizen, but not under the others because you're considered livestock. You're considered owned for foreign interest. But what is odd is the government of Los Angeles, you know, the city government, is hiding all of their documents, so is Santa Monica, in other cities. So if it was just out in the open that they were doing this to children, why are they hiding it in another city, and why are they profiting on it? Because it's supposed to be for foreign interest. So it's just a creative way that they're hiding slavery. You are present in the United States as a teacher or trainee in any of the prior 6 years, and a foreign employer paid all your compensation during the preceding 6 years. A student temporarily present who substantially complies with the requirements of the visa. You won't be an exempt individual as a student in the current year if you've been exempt as a teacher, trainee, or student for any part of more than 5 calendar years, unless you meet both of the following requirements. You establish that you don't intend to reside permanently in the United States, and you have substantially complied with the requirements of the visa. So it says even if this part, you meet the substantial presence test, which means, okay, they marry you on paper. Somebody marries you that is a government official to hide that you're being held as a slave, and you've been married for a substantial amount of time. That person, you are supposed to be a permanent resident unless you're present here as a foreign government related individual. Now this is just, it's too broad. It's too broad to be constitutional. Okay. So I found this yesterday, City of Redlands, Agriculture number 86. My sister gave me this card, fact number 86. Remember, 86 means to kill, to throw away, to trash, and just, I mean, that's what it means in the food industry. That's what it means in all of these industries. This is a document I found called Removal Number 86, City of Redlands, Agriculture. And when you look a little closer at the document, it has my name on it. So it's City Council Resolution 4959. And here it says Lisa Marie. I thought this said LAL, which would be really interesting, but it says Lane, I think. LAL means Ruby, and if you look up LAL, it means a lot. But I thought this said LAL, but it actually says LN, Lane. Okay, so why is this one important is because this thing I found under the cemetery, meaning dead, version of maps, right? So number 86, and then it says, I mean, one of my birth certificates says my name is Lisa Marie. So they intend to kill you, you guys. It's not funny or a joke. I just think many people kill themselves. Many people don't understand what it is. You have to understand this is a plot by the American government to injure children by holding them as slaves through AIEA that's claiming you're a child for the rest of your life and don't have access to your own money, by people like Cindy Perkins, aka Cynthia Ruff, who I knew when I was a child as Cindy Perkins. She signs a POA, which is a power of attorney, saying they can do anything they want to you in order to convey your property. But they're signing your name, and they're caught for forgery because in the system, they have to be caught for it. But it doesn't mean you get anywhere from that, right? And then we've got Green Acres Memorial Park right here. Frank Warren Cook. Goldie Cook is the present spouse. And it's Stanley Dickey Mortuary, right? There's a lot of Green Acres stuff I found. I'm sure you guys know about it, but I just want to show you. The very deep situation going on. I have more to go over, but my time's up, so I'll talk to you in a bit.